My name is Laura DiCessi, and I'm the new director of the Scranton Area Foundation. I'm here to introduce the beginning of a new series which will feature the Scranton Area Foundation and our region's nonprofit organizations who are doing wonderful things to benefit the people of the community. So, I'm also going to start by introducing the gentleman to my left, and his name is Don Roten, and he's from the Scranton School of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Don?
Thank you.
Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to start by talking about what a foundation is, because I think the Scranton Area Foundation, when you hear it, you think, okay, what exactly is a foundation? A foundation is a collection of funds that are set up by people in the community, and that's what the beauty of a community foundation is. I think of it and I will say that I've been 2 months in my new position here, taking over from Jean Bovard, who served this foundation with integrity for 25 years. And I will say in my position, I realized that a community foundation is really unique in its capacity because it's the people's foundation. It's a community foundation in the sense it's your foundation. So the people that comprise our community make up the Scranton Area Foundation and all what it can be in this community. We've been around now for 25 years. In 1988, we were established as a public foundation. In 1954, however, we had been a private foundation, and we incorporated as a public foundation to make it a community foundation. So right now, we're comprised of hundreds of funds that have been set up by individuals and organizations within the community for the benefit of the community. And Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing is one of the nonprofit organizations that the Scranton Area Foundation has given a grant to amongst the many nonprofit organizations in the region. So that's why it's wonderful to start the series with the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, because not only for the reason that there are so many exciting things happening at that school, but also we can talk a little bit about the program that the Scranton Area Foundation funded, as well as the endowment that the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing has began with the Scranton Area Foundation. And I think that first, I'll start by saying that I was extremely impressed when I had the opportunity to take a site visit to the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, because the Scranton Area Foundation had funded what is called a wellness program. And this site visit brought me up to this amazing school where I saw individualized learning and just a service to our community that I think it's a story that deserves to be told. So first I'll begin by asking the question, tell me about this magnificent school and why it's so unique and so critical to our community.
Well, the students we serve are ranging from birth through high school. The majority of our services focus on children between birth to 3 and then up through middle school. We have a high school program with a few students who have additional needs, but we're proud to be in northeastern Pennsylvania. There was a school funded by the state that was here for many years. 3 years ago it closed, and then we came in to make sure that the services remained, and not only offer them at a level that was existing, but make sure we exceeded expectations and to surpass everybody's hopes of what we were going to be able to do. Our students need the services that we provide. A hearing loss, many times people may not see it on the street, they may not realize people have this hearing loss. But it comes with additional educational requirements that really support them throughout their lives. We offer this extensive array of services that other schools just can't do. They can't afford it, really. We've been able to do this because we are a private nonprofit. We get support from our community, we get support from foundations like the Scranton Area Foundation, and it really benefits not only families, but the entire community. So we're thrilled to collaborate with the Scranton Area Foundation on this project.
You know, it's amazing too, because if a student, for example, or a child wanted to enroll in the school and maybe didn't have sufficient means to do that, would they be prohibited from enrolling?
No. It's our mission to provide the services to the kids at no cost to the family. We don't charge tuition. Even though we are a private nonprofit, we don't charge tuition. We want to make sure that everybody has access to what we offer. It comes at a cost, of course, but we make sure we can do it, and we make sure it's feasible. When the school was established 3 years ago here, after the closing of the state school, The Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf in Pittsburgh is what really was the driving force behind our services today. They have a healthy endowment, a large endowment, and it's because of their history of success and support, and quite frankly, from raising money from the community. The support of the community is what enables us to provide this tuition-free service.
The tuition-free capacity, along with just the individualized learning at the school, I think are amazing. But I will say also, I think that the geographic expansion in our region of who your school serves is pretty extensive.
Yeah, up until 3 years ago, we were based out of Pittsburgh. The Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf was based out of Pittsburgh. We were serving Western PA and some of Central PA through our parent-infant program, where we serve families in their homes. Once we realized that the school here was closing, we knew it wasn't something we were going to allow for these services to essentially dissipate. We wanted to make sure that families in this area had the services they need. So when we came and decided, okay, we're gonna make a presence here, that expanded our reach significantly. So it came at a significant cost to us. It was something that required an extensive amount of time, but it was something that really wasn't an option. It had to be done, and we were proud to do it.
One of the things that the Scranton Area Foundation does is locate and assess the most critical and impending needs in our community in order to serve them. And so, like I mentioned briefly, the Health and Wellness Program with the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing was a program that we funded through a grant. Because as a community foundation, what we do is we fund grants, we fund nonprofit organizations through grants. So, for example, a nonprofit organization with a specific program or need can submit a grant to the foundation, and the foundation will distribute the grants to those programs to support them, sustain them, and serve our community. We also, through a variety of funds that individuals set up. So for example, any individual can set up a fund. And to set up a fund, for example, with the Scranton Area Foundation, it starts at $5,000. And the beauty and the benefit of doing that not only is to distribute and bring back this value and this investment and support into the community, but the Scranton Area Foundation will match that fund contribution, so we're further supporting it to invest in the community. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the Health and Wellness Program and just about what the benefits the students are going to get?
Sure. At the Scranton School, we take great pride in not only offering a high-quality program in the classroom, but we extend that to every aspect of a child's life. We have nurses, dentists, part-time doctor who comes in, speech-language pathologist, interpreters. It goes on and on and on, the services that we offer. While we do have a physical education program and an after-school activities program, we really wanted to focus in on the health of the child and the wellness of the child. We're renovating our playground, adding a playground. I can't even say renovating, we're adding a playground for the first time in this school's history. So we're thrilled to be adding this playground. We thought, let's add a component that while they're playing, they can also improve their own body, their own health. And they not only can improve it now, but in the long term. So when we came to the Scranton Area Foundation with this opportunity, or this idea, it was, okay, let's focus on the entire aspect of the student. And not only take this to the classroom, to our support services, but also to their actual physical body, and make sure that they can lead healthy lifestyles. So it involves physical play, it involves instruction on decision-making for food, nutrition. It's every aspect of physical and the nutritional values. So it's exciting. It's
overall well-being.
The overall well-being of a child. It's fantastic.
And it sounds to me, and from my experience, being able to see the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing and talk with Don and just witness the students learning and engaging, I can tell that it is an organization that's committed to long-term planning. And that's why one of the initiatives that the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing took was to set up an endowment with the Scranton Area Foundation. And what is an endowment? An endowment, it's a tricky word, is basically a fund that an organization sets up with the foundation to support long-term operational, programmatic, sustaining goals, or for long-term planning. So the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing set up this fund because it was basically a way to basically cement sustainment for the organization and for the fact that the foundation matches it. But I really want to, I think what's unique about this is the way that this endowment was established was through what I like to call corporate philanthropy or corporate citizenship. And maybe Don can talk briefly about that.
Yeah, a few months ago, we were presented with the opportunity to establish this fund. And one of our goals when we came here was that we would never ask anybody for support unless we've given them support, or unless we've been able to prove the impact that we will make on this community. Over the last 3 years, we pretty much invested and injected $6 million into the community, all from out of the region, from our own endowment, from private support, and essentially from philanthropy in general. None of it has come from state dollars, none of it has come from taxes or whatever else you want to consider it. It's all been through private support, such as the endowment, such as the corporate giving that you're talking about now. And when we were presented with the idea of partnering with the Scranton Area Foundation, we thought, you know what, this is exactly what we need to do. This is exactly what will benefit our students long term and the community. So in Pittsburgh, we have an endowment through the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf, but in Scranton, we don't want to ask anybody to give to an endowment in Pittsburgh, even though the money would directly support all of our programs here.
Based.
We want to keep our focus within the community. Mm-hmm. We want to serve the community and solicit support through the community by giving to the community.
Right.
So for us, the endowment here, the fund, will directly support our students and directly support our programs. It's within the community, supported by the community. It's a fantastic idea.
I think it's a great idea. I also think that the specific program that this endowment is going to support is an amazing program, and maybe you want to touch on that a bit.
I mentioned earlier that our parent-infant program serves birth through 3 and their families. So when a child is born without hearing loss, language many times is delayed. So one of our programs is to go into the households to inform parents on their options, what our school can do, what other schools across the state can do, the different language techniques they can employ on their child, and really give the whole array of options, not just what we offer. And in doing so, we empower the families to offer the best services they can possibly offer for their child. So we go into the households of, right now, in the area, a couple dozen families, and we work with them a few times a week to make sure that they are fully equipped with what they need to do. So this fund will support that program. It's a fantastic program. In order to expand it, we need more support, and that's where this partnership is coming into play.
It sounds like it's a partnership that started with very community-minded, philanthropic business people. Is that correct to say?
Absolutely. We came here, we invested in the community, and one of the main focuses that we looked at when determining who would handle our renovations or who we would actually invest in was individuals, was corporations that we knew we could have a good partnership with. And looking at establishing this fund, we knew that we wanted to do it with people who meant something to us. So we looked towards 2 organizations, 2 corporations, Brookhaven's Design Association and One Point. Each of them, without question, are 2 of our biggest, our best corporate partners. Then with the Sordoni Construction Company, we've got 3 partners who have just been unbelievable to us. With One Point, we had issues with our renovation to the dormitory. The glue from the manufacturer and the carpeting wasn't staying down, but we couldn't allow it to continue. They were working through the weekends.
They were responsive.
They were absolutely supportive of our need, and not because they needed to, because they wanted to. And we respected that unbelievably. And the Brookhaven Design Association has gone well beyond what we could ever ask for them. And they are extremely supportive of what we do. And when we presented the idea to them, they both jumped all over it. They wanted to be the lead supporters of this fund.
Did you feel it was difficult to set up an endowment fund? Was it a simple process?
The entire process, without question, has been simple. When the idea was presented to us, the concept was easy to understand. You know, we want to establish a fund through the foundation that will, in perpetuity, support our services. You know, everybody needs the support today, but we're looking long-term here. We don't want a donation today that we can use for a classroom or whatever the need is, that once it's done, it's gone. We want to make sure that we can sustain our programs long-term, and that's what this fund does. It's as simple as, you know, fulfilling or completing a little agreement and getting the support. Asking these two organizations for the support was probably the easiest of it all, because we knew there'd be no question they would be there for us.
And that's one of the things about a foundation is, as Don said, it's about permanence. It's about a fund that will stay permanently in the community to permanently support this cause. You know, you look at this description of what the Scranton Area Foundation is, and it says catalyst for community, and a catalyst is a convener. It's an organization that brings people together to inspire change. And I would say in this case, you have a catalyst, but you have a corporate philanthropy kind of mentality that I think really spurned a lot of positive change. And I think that people should know that while this endowment has been established to benefit the students of the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, individual people in our community that want to contribute can contribute into this endowment. Is that correct?
Anybody who's willing, has a desire, can support. You know, we accept donations, obviously, directly to the organization, but you know, we looking long term here.
Sure.
And knowing that the Scranton Area Foundation matches a portion of it is just, it makes complete sense for us to partner with the foundation.
I will say, for this particular fund, if people in our viewing audience want to contribute to this endowment, what you would do is send a donation or gift or whatever you would like to do to the Scranton Area Foundation, and you would call it the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Fund, and basically you would address it to the Scranton Area Foundation, and that is basically 321 Spruce Street, Suite 608, and it's Scranton, PA 18503. But I'm going to say that I don't want to close this without saying, I want to know, you've mentioned so many wonderful things about the school that I'm sure you're proud to represent, but what gets you out of bed in the morning?
You know,
and it's probably many answers.
Right. I don't know if we have enough time. Yeah, we do what we do not because of, you know, because we have any obligation to do it. You know, we don't wake up and go to the school every day because we feel like we have to. It's not a job for us, it's a passion. I'm blessed to have been raised in a family that all my family works at the school. My father is the CEO of the school. My mother is the director of the school. She's held, I think this is probably her 12th title at the school, and they've been there for a long time. It's a passion. You know, the children that we serve are what drives us to the school. You know, if you have a conversation with any of us, either at lunch, at the school, wherever it may be, you'll see that we are passionate about what we're doing. And I'm not referring to just the three of us. I'm referring to the entire school. Everybody who works at that school will give you the same message. And it comes through with the passion. And it's really the children that drive us every day to do what we do. And we can't do that without the community. You know, we work hard to make sure we offer the best services that we can, but it's the community that enables us to do that. Right. And that's what's just been so amazing about Northeastern Pennsylvania. You know, when we came here, we weren't really sure what was going to happen. We weren't sure if we'd be received. We weren't sure if people would be a little hesitant to support us. But I think once they have seen what we're doing and they understand what our overall goal is, it's been pretty obvious. You know, we are open to be a partner with everybody. We want to be a member of the community, not just a part of the community. Right. And you know, we are here long term. That is what drove us to establish this fund even. You know, we want to make an impact not on this generation of students, and not while they're here today, but throughout their lives and every generation to follow.
And if members of our viewing audience have similar passions and would like to contribute to our community, maybe you have a specific cause, a specific concern that's dear to your heart, the Scranton Area Foundation will set up a fund with you and administer your fund and make sure that the community is served for the long term, for perpetuity, for permanence, because we're a catalyst for community. And I'm very glad that our first program in this series could be with Don Roten from the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thank you for joining us. We're on site at the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children at their gorgeous campus in South Abington Township, Pennsylvania. I'm Laura Duchessi. I'm Director and CEO of the Scranton Area Foundation, and with me are two of our region's finest corporate philanthropists, Pat McMahon from One Point Incorporated and Bill Berkavage from Berkavage Design and Associates. And while we just had the opportunity to discuss, the background behind the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children, the endowment that's now been placed at the Scranton Area Foundation. We talked with Don Roten for a while on the wonderful changes and distinguished growth of this fine institution and how the endowment fund that's been established at the Scranton Area Foundation is going to be able to benefit the children that attend here for infinity. So why we're here now on this campus is to kind of be on site and see exactly what this school has been able to accomplish and continues to accomplish, and talk about the reason why the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children has been able to institute this endowment fund. And that's because of the generous corporate philanthropy that's alive in our community today, and the buy-in from individuals in our community into the wonderful work that institutions like Scranton School for the Deaf and Hearing and Hard of Hearing Children are able to do. So I'm going to start by just talking a little bit behind both of these companies and the philosophies behind their corporate philanthropy and why they wanted to be a part of starting this endowment fund. So first I'll ask Mr. McMahon, how has One Point been effective in this region in being involved in the community? I know you have a long history of involvement, but tell us a little bit about that.
The history goes back to a debate back in the 80s. I was a young businessman at the time, and I heard a debate between George Bush Sr. and Michael Dukakis. And George Bush was talking about a country that had 1,000 points of light, and he kept on talking about 1,000 points of light. And Mike Dukakis didn't know what he was talking about. And I did. I sat there. Mike, Dukakis said, "What is he talking about? 1,000 points light?" What President Bush was talking about was a country that had people, had executive directors, had CEOs, had volunteers, nonprofits and corporations all across the country who were helping make the country a better place to live for the common good. And that's what it required. He was saying they just can't be the government. It just can't be the government who's the only advocate for underprivileged or handicapped or whatever. So it was then that I decided that's what I want to do. I want to be part of the solution. So in 1997, our company, at the time it was called Forums Plus Incorporated, we started a charity committee. And that committee, with the help of Father George Schimmel and Judy Romer, that committee was named One Point of Light, because we wanted to be one of those thousands of points of light. So we started a charity committee. A number of our employees joined. Now that's 15 years ago, and many of them are still the same committee, still on the committee. And we find opportunities out there that need help. We do volunteer work. Just on last weekend, we were volunteering at St. Joseph's Center. That was a non-monetary contribution. We just did volunteer work. But we also vet certain types of organizations that we're not familiar with to find out what their mission is, and thus find organizations that we want to support.
So it's a visible articulation of the concept of 1,000 points of light playing a key role. And like Pat articulated, there are so many different ways that companies in the region can become active in the community, whether it's monetary, critical, financial donations, also engagement into direct engagement, helping organizations achieve their missions. But clearly that's a perfect example of how an endowment that the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing has been able to establish is taking place. And the other half of that endowment, equally as important, is Mr. Bill Berkavich from Berkavich Design Associates. And I know of the long history that your company has had in this region with corporate philanthropy, and you personally engaged in the community. So I thought maybe you'd also want to articulate to our viewers a little bit behind your rationale of being a part of this endowment fund and supporting this school.
Well, our involvement goes back. Ours is a family business that goes back, it's as old as I am. It's nearly 60, it's over 64 years old, started by my father. And we've always been part of the community. And in my time in the business here, Dad was a very, very vocal, charitable guy within the community. In my time in the business, I've been impressed by and moved by friends of mine, such as Pat, but another, David Hawk, who I heard articulate at one time at Gertrude Hawk Chocolates why he would never sell the business, he would always keep it here in Scranton, because he saw what the coal barons had done here and taken everything out and left nothing behind. And he, as again, one point of light, was going to make a difference. And my roots go back to those coal barons, because my grandfather was a coal miner here, and I experienced his life, the difficult years after he retired from the coal mines. So that made an impression on me of the need to continue to give back, to be part of the community, to not be somebody who takes, but somebody who gives. I think there's another story that brought that to light, and that was back in the late 90s when we were designing the Brennan School of Business at the University of Scranton. And Father McShane was here, and he insisted that in the lobby of the business school, of all places, that it was very important that there be a visible manifestation of Christ's teaching there. And he chose a passage from Luke that you'll see in very large letters in the lobby there that said, "To those whom much is given, much is expected." And that's a great phrase to live by.
Yeah.
I know my children were in the process, my boys were in the process of applying to colleges at the time, and that phrase may have made it into one or two of the essays for colleges. But it also was an onus in our office to redouble our efforts to give back to the community, and to not only to do it from a corporate point of view, but to encourage individuals within the company to have their own interests. Because again, it's not just an entity, it's not just a person, it's 1,000 points of light. There's all these people, and it's important that everybody sees that as a part of their life. So when we became involved here with the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf, as they were moving here and became involved, it was hard, it was very difficult not to reach out even more to Don and Kathy Roten here as you got involved, to see the kinds of activities and just the inspiring activities that go on here in terms of what they do for the children. And so while we maintain a lot of activity with charities and throughout the area, this is a very special one for us, and we're very pleased and honored to be the architect for the projects here, but we're also very pleased and honored to be co-founder of the endowment here for the school at Scranton Area Foundation.
You articulated so many important points in that statement, and I think the first one is investment within the region. The concept of permanence, this endowment is permanent, and it's something that you know, is like you referred to the coal barons. It's the concept of permanence means that students attending this school are going to be able to continue to benefit, like I said, to infinity, continually, because the foundation will continue to exist, and every year this endowment fund will continue to support the program that Don referred to. Then you talked about inspiration and creating a culture that inspires other people, and I think that's one of the key aspects that corporate philanthropy has is people that are in leadership positions, people that play a key role in our region, have that opportunity to inspire others to be a point of light. So I think these are really important points that were just articulated, and it brings me to the concept of corporate philanthropy in general and the reason behind establishing this endowment fund. Why the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hearing Impaired? Why is their mission so critical to you? You touched on it briefly towards the end of yours, but I'll start out with you and say why.
I didn't know much about them until I came up and did a tour on campus, and I watched the eyes of the children. I watched the teachers, and there was a special connection. The kids were glowing. The kids were learning, and all you had to do was walk through, and you felt that this place was special. Whether it was the aura, I can't explain it. It was just a special place, and it was an easy decision for us that they're doing good work here. From the day they moved in, they wanted to be a member of our local community, and I give them a lot of credit for that. Yeah. They could have chosen not to be, and they could have used companies and suppliers that were from their previous location. They had a very successful program out in the western part of the state, but they wanted to be a local member of our community, and I think that's sort of part of it. People who live in our area, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, northeastern Pennsylvania, they feel a certain sense of community here, and it only makes sense that we help foster that sense of community. And one of the ways of doing it is keeping your business local and supporting local charities. And by doing that, you're helping employment locally, you're helping your neighbor who might need help. It's a very close-knit community. So it makes sense. And the Western School of Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children has just been exemplary in wanting to become part of that local community.
Thank you. And your rationale, you touched on it as the architects behind the design of this project. That's obviously an important component of why, but I'm sure that there's even more.
Well, again, you know, we have tried to support as many of the local charities and foundations as we can in the area, but when we were first interviewed, when Kathy Roten came to town to be the architect for their new campus, there was an immediate connection, I think, personally with the three of us that came to the interview with Kathy and how passionate she was about their mission and what they expected. And again, if your expectations are high, it drives you. But it only took, after we were selected, a trip out to their campus in Pittsburgh and be with them for a day to buy in completely. And those of us that went out there were changed by the experience. And it just drives you to do everything you can, not only from a professional sense, but then from a philanthropic sense to help them with their mission. I've sort of insisted that everybody in the office and our consultants who have worked on the project should go see Pittsburgh so that they realize that this is not just another project. This is a mission, and this is a mission that's important for the children that are here and for the community. That we lost the state school, and people were very concerned about it. This has been replaced here by a group of people and now an ongoing facility and mission here that's going to really change the lives of people in this area of the state. And so we're again very happy to be involved, and you can't help but every time you come to a meeting here with any of the people here to be inspired by them.
It is a very inspiring place. I will echo that. Having been in my role as CEO and director of the Scranton Area Foundation and being a native of the Scranton area, I was away in about 15 years in the Philadelphia area, and coming back, I can say that that spirit of community that both Pat and Bill articulates is prevalent in our region. And that's why when you have 2 points of light, like it's a great concept, but companies such as One Point Incorporated and Burkabich Design Association decides to start a fund like that, and it allows for people in the community that maybe have an interest in supporting students in our community that are deaf or are hard of hearing and want to be able to attend this wonderful school and participate in programs that it offers. Fostering that, this kind of funds being established allows for the community itself and viewers to contribute into this endowment fund. So from the Scranton Area Foundation, and I know from the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing children, I thank both of you for being here and for being the impetus behind this fund. And thank you for joining us on this lovely campus and being a part of this program and talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.